This is At Risk Radio.
Welcome to At Risk Radio. At Risk Radio is a show where we talk about leadership in the church at risk. My name is Mark Stafford. I'm the host of the show. I'm here with David Witt. He is the CEO of SOM International, and with Russell Stendal Jr. Now, Russell Stendal Jr. is the Vice President of Colombia, Parish, Cristo, and Russell just finished a movie. So we want to talk about the movie today. And before we get into this new movie, Parish of the Pines, David, tell us a little bit about the Parish of the Pines and SOM's involvement with this project.
Yeah, Mark, we are partners with, of course, the Stendal family of all the mission work, the outreach, over the years, and it's been a tight relationship. Russell's older sisters, which we're going to have an episode with Lisa, have just an art form and a training, a background in the art of film. They made La Montaña, which we've talked about. And this is their second film that they were inspired by reading when they were younger out of a book called The Last of the Giants. And so this is a 7-year project of Lisa. And we're going to hear more of that story as we get Lisa. We're going to hear some from Russell. Bottom line, they were led to produce this film. They've just gone through 7 years. They've just completed the film. We are now partnering in a whole premiere season to try to get the word out and energize our base out there to start promoting this film for a theater release. And Mark, I was just talking to Cindy, my wife, just this week, how I'm so blessed and honored. I never thought in my life that I'd be involved in a motion picture to be released in the theaters to help our culture, remind them of the roots of our faith, because it's a historical film, and we're going to have Russell talk about what that film is. So, Russell Jr., welcome. This is the first time I think we've had you on At Risk Radio. You're a true leader, and we're going to have you another time to talk about the work in Latin America. But today we're going to focus on your role. You're the star. I mean, I think this is the first real, movie star we've had on At Risk Radio too. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Movie star.
Yeah. So what we're honored here, Russell. And so why don't you even first of all give a encapsulation for our audience of what is the story of the Parish of the Pines? What's a thumbnail of the story that you and who Frank Higgins is?
Well, yeah, thank you for having me on the podcast, and I'm excited to share to everyone a little bit about what Parish of the Pines is, what this movie's about, and what Frank Higgins' story is about. And in essence, the whole Parish of the Pines is about this man called Frank E. Higgins, and he's I play him in the movie, and he was when he was born in Canada, he always had a dream of becoming a preacher. And it's just a film about someone who always just had that heart from the beginning, and the faithfulness of someone like that, of wanting to share the gospel with as many people as he could just from a very early age. So we wanted to show a movie about that. And in essence, that's Frank's story.
Yeah, in fact, Russell, who was Frank's first congregation? Who was he preaching to when he was younger?
So he started preaching to the cows in his field and to the stumps.
There you go.
Wow.
That's leadership, early development there. So you'll see that they show that on the film. It's a wonderful scene of when Frank Higgins is younger. Let's talk, Russell. What was it like when you were asked to play that role? How did you feel about that?
When because my sisters obviously directed it and produced it, so I kind of felt like the question was coming. We were always praying for a big budget to film this movie, and wishful thinking, trying to get big name actors on board to play Frank Higgins or something. But in the back of my mind and in my heart, I always knew that at some point maybe my sisters would ask me to play the part of Frank Higgins, and I was afraid of it because I knew the whole story hinges on Frank, and I just didn't want to be the one to mess it up. So I was very afraid to take on that role, but when the question came, I just knew I had to say yes, and I just felt like that's what the Lord wanted me to do. And I knew that when I said yes, that I would have to just give 100% of the time, because working in the mission field in Colombia, it isn't just about one title that you are, or you're only doing one thing in your job. It's you have to do everything, from cleaning the floors to managing the printing of Bibles and distributing to Venezuela. It's everything. You have to be willing to do everything. So I knew I wasn't just going to have to play the role of Frank and memorize the lines and be on set and be in character, but I also knew that I was going to have to set up the set or set up the camera, learn how to even function a camera, because none of us were camera people. But we all learned, and I learned how to do lighting and how to do camera work and how to do set design and how to do all these things that involve making a movie.
Well, there's many things unique about this film. One certainly is the many stories, background stories of just God's hand of provision, and there is online some of the backstories, and I hope people go watch that. But one of them you just brought up is it's truly a family-produced film, and that came out of God's hand because just simply the budget. They were praying for millions, and the millions didn't come in, and so they just had to go to the Lord, and they were thinking about just not doing the project, but all of a sudden it became a family project. And I don't know of any other motion picture I know of that's a family project like that. And as we had people come out of the premiere this last weekend, one of the things I heard over and over again was how people were really inspired, how quality it was and professional. And I mean, it's just a great film. And the Lord just gave you guys favor. But comment, what was that experience like? I mean, how were you blessed, or some thoughts of doing it with your family? What did that do now as you've now put a family motion picture together?
Well, it was a blessing working with my siblings and all the people that we worked with. It's just, I don't know how many people can say that they can film a movie, and day in and day out you get to work with your closest friends, which is your siblings and your family. And that to me was just a priceless thing, and no amount of money in the world could have given me that experience. And so I'm just really thankful to the Lord that we were able to do that and spend so much time together. And it wasn't just like my siblings. In every set that we went to Hoona, Alaska, or the middle of Delta Junction, Alaska. And my sisters brought their whole family. So it wasn't just with my siblings, it was with my nieces and nephews. And we had to take care of the kids when we had to, or just the friendships that we had with my older nieces and nephews and with my parents and all that. And so those were just, priceless experiences.
Well, hey, we got to run to a break. And we're here with Russell Stendal Jr. He was the head actor in the Parish of the Pines movie. And we're going to learn more about the story of Frank Higgins and the Parish of the Pines when we get back.
At Risk Radio.
Lost Story Cinema presents a new feature film, the story of Frank Higgins, the lumberjack sky pilot.
More than any class that's lived in our land, these lumberjacks can truthfully say, no man cared for my soul.
The church has forgotten the prodigal while caring for the souls of the saved.
30,000 men? Men to whom God is dead, and Sunday is the harvest day of iniquity, and the saloons and brothels.
But you were there, willing.
Willing, yes, but not ordained, you see.
The Duluth Presbytery is not going to ordain an uncouth lad who hasn't even finished the 6th grade.
Ever since I was a young lad in Canada, I've wanted to pilot men to the skies.
Aren't you the lumberjack sky pilot?
I am.
My brother heard you preaching. He said you's a fellow who never leave a lumberjack down.
I'm too low and vile for even God to do anything with it.
But God brought me all this way to find you.
Based on the true story of an ordinary man who would become a giant. The Parish of the Pines, coming soon. For more information about this film and to learn about a movie premiere near you, go to theparishofthepinesmovie.com. theparishofthepinesmovie.com.
Welcome back to At Risk Radio. I'm online with David Witt. He's the CEO of SOM International, and also with Russell Stendal Jr. He's the Vice President of Colombia para Cristo, the manager of Ransom Press International, and, as we said before, a movie star. Well, maybe we want to say that too loud or he'll get a big head. So he was the lead actor in the Parish of the Pines movie. And David, you guys just a few days ago, before this recording, had premiered this movie in this really neat theater in Sedona, and had a lot of people come out to that, and we're doing premieres all over the country. So tell us kind of a little bit about the strategy on how this movie is getting rolled out there to the public.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. This movie has so much heart. And I even talked about to the audience of the premiere how when's the last time we had a wholesome G-rated movie for adults that we could take children to. I think it's needed in our society with such brokenness and hurt and fear. And we had a lot of people leaving with tears and inspiration. We just think God's put this together for this time and this season. We're coming right after COVID too, and lacking films out there, that here's a film coming down the pipe. We're hoping to release it 2020. Now, Mark, it comes down to, if this is going to be a big impact to our culture in the United States, we need a grassroots movement. There really isn't a marketing budget at all for to market this on a regular way through media channels and to spend millions of dollars. We just don't have it. Right. So what has God given to us? He's given us wonderful people with big hearts and willing to work hard and willing to work on behalf of God's messages and his tools. And so that's what we're appealing to is our partner base out there, even our listening audience, that you would maybe pray about wanting to host a premiere or getting somebody to help host in your area. That would be developing, just going and contracting with a local theater for a night. You'd have one cast member, if not a few, come in, so to even do PR stuff and talk about backstories and just inspire the people, and just a real intimate showing. And we're hoping those people that come to the premiere will get the word out. So looking at fall 2024 for hopefully a release. But again, that's going to be, we're looking towards the Lord to energize a grassroots movement.
So David, let me ask you a few questions about that. Let's say I want to get some of my friends together and we want to show this premiere. Are you looking at doing all of these in movie theaters? Are you looking at doing some of these in churches? Do you need to have hundreds of people to show up to do this? Is this super expensive? I mean, talk to me a little bit about some of the logistics involved.
Not at all. Now, we were at a special movie theater. It was for the Sedona Film Festival. So, I mean, the quality was amazing. Now, we sold out, which was wonderful. We had 144 there, so it's not hundreds, because we just want the right people that are networkers, obviously the people with a passion to get the word out. We do want it in theaters as possible. That's what we're asking for, because we want the full cinematic experience. And it's off times, matinee times. It's not that expensive overall. We're going to help with the marketing and the advertising and even the ticket sales and everything else. So it'll be a threefold partnership with the Parish of the Pines crew, with Spirit of Martyrdom International, and with the local representative. So that's what we're looking for. And then also, I guess I want to come back to you, Russell. Any thoughts you have as people are thinking about, well, why would I want to bring this to my area? Why would I even want to see the film? What is the message, Russell, that you believe is so key for today that people are going to walk away with after seeing this movie?
Yeah, that's a important question. The heart of the film is that we need to remember where we all come from. And there's definitely a string or a timeline that the Lord has been with his people throughout history. And that I think is being forgotten today in our society. And we're kind of forgetting where our roots are from and where we kind of our heritage in a sense. And we forget that it wasn't people, gunslingers that went and conquered the West or even made it, civilized. It was the circuit riders and good judges and godly judges that went and put order into a lot of the chaos that was prevalent in most of the United States. And so this movie is about that. This movie is about a just man before the Lord that changed the lives and presented the gospel in such a way that changed lives, that the Lord used to change lives in a whole area of the United States. and created this whole revival that basically tamed the northern woods of Minnesota after the Sky Pilots, or as they were called back then, these preachers that went around northern Minnesota.
Yeah, and define that. Why was Frank Higgins called the Sky Pilots by the lumberjacks that he brought the gospel to?
So yeah, they nicknamed him the Sky Pilot because they would say that he knew the way to heaven. So he would pilot people to the sky. So they affectionately called him the Sky Pilot. And in other words, it's people that present the gospel that are missionaries or preachers. That's the term that they used. But in northern Minnesota, the effects of that was felt back then. Like whole towns, all their saloons and brothels would just shut down after Frank and the other Sky Pilots would go and preach, and really created a foundation of a society that we still feel the effects of that to this day, but is slowly being forgotten. And we wanted people to remember where we came from, remember our inheritance in Christ Jesus, and our inheritance that comes from people like Frank and others.
Yeah. Now, Russell, Frank says a key line towards remembering. Can you quote Frank for us here?
Yeah, he says he's talking to the lumberjacks, and he tells them, it's time to remember the important things that are perhaps forgotten or maybe never known. And that's the heart of the story. It's really time for the United States and for everyone who's lost to remember those important things that are being forgotten. And maybe if they weren't ever told of these important things, which is the gospel, it's time for people to start hearing the gospel presented in a clear way, in a powerful way.
Good. Yeah, thanks. Any last word you want to say, Russell, just to encourage people to get involved with this film?
Yes, we would really appreciate your prayers for us, for the Lord to open doors and for the Lord to bring the people that he wants to bring to these premieres, and that we would just be able to present this movie in a great way.
Hey, Russell, before we close here, though, it would be wrong for us to not mention the greatest reward and gift you got from doing this movie and from acting as Frank Higgins. And you just want to quickly share what the Lord gave to you?
Yes, I would love. That was the best part of filming the whole movie, was I got to meet my wife during filming, and I never thought being in a movie would bring me a wife, but the Lord did that, and we've been married for a year, and it's been wonderful.
Wow, that's a great story. Well, Russell, I thank you so much for being on the show today. And just a few things. Got actually a number of websites to talk about here, okay? A lot of ways you can get involved. So first off, the Stendal family is highlighted on a regular basis in the SOM newsletter. So if you want to keep up to date with what's happening with the Stendals, what's happening with the Parish of the Pines movie, and all the things related to Stendals, you want to go to atriskradio.com and sign up for the newsletter. We'll send you a full color newsletter every month that talks about all the things you can be praying for. Because, Russell, one thing you said is true, that we really need prayer partners. We need prayer partners for the movie. We need prayer partners for the ministry that's going on, for Bibles getting distributed. I mean, we just need people who can pray. Second one, if you want to learn more about the Parish of the Pines movie, you need to go to theparishofthepinesmovie.com. Did I get that right? Theparishofthepinesmovie.com. And that has a trailer and has some more information about what's happening with the Parish of the Pines movie. Now, if you want to host a premiere for the movie, if this has stirred your heart to gather some people together in your community to premiere this movie, you want to go to GoSkyPilots.com, and there you can register to be part of the mailing list, and you can sign up for a premiere. You can even donate to the movie if you want to help them financially. That's at GoSkyPilots.com. And last one. Okay, last place, if you want to pick up the previous movie, which is La Montaña, or any of Russell Sr.'s books. There's dozens and dozens of them that are out there. We exchange those resources for a donation at sombookstore.com. All right, so hopefully we'll have all of these links in the notes. You know what? We got to bring this episode to a close. So my name is Mark Stafford, and this has been At Risk Radio.
You've been listening to At Risk Radio. For more, go to atriskradio.com. At Risk Radio is a production of SOM International.